Hi, Gloria Lybecker here with Healing You. Who are your voices and what are they saying to you? We all have these internalized voices, but do you recognize what they represent to you in your life? Horses can support us to acknowledge what is in the moment. I remember one day as one of my clients stood with her back to the corral. Her eyes were closed and her arms hung at her side. And I was guiding her through a body-centered process. And her horse was standing at the gate, and his mouth licked and chewed as she tapped into her body's wisdom. First, she noticed fear in her belly, and apprehension in her heart space. And her horse lifted a front foot and set it with a bang on the metal gate. She named fear in her belly once more, and tears sprang to her eyes as she crumpled forward. And she said, I wasn't allowed to cry. I wasn't going to. I never let anyone see my fear. I reflected back to her gently. You never let anyone see your fear, and you weren't going to cry. And then I made a guess. I'm guessing a little part of you might be needing acknowledgement, what it's like to be you in this moment. Are you needing to know that it's safe to be vulnerable in this space? Needing trust and companionship right where you are? And she responded with, it wasn't ever okay to cry when I was a kid. My dad would say, stop crying. And I couldn't get angry either. I had to go to my room to be angry or cry. Nobody could see me. I reflected again, gently. Nobody could see you. Really needing gentle support and loving kindness, perhaps, to be seen and heard for what it was like to be little you. She cried. Everyone turns to me for help. And who am I? Why do they always turn to me? I need as much help as everyone else. I asked her softly, would you like it if everyone had as much support as they needed, whenever they needed it, including little you? Oh, nodding her head, she opened her arms out from her sides. Her eyes were still closed, and then her arms moved down to her sides and hugged around her torso. With her knees bent, she gently swayed her body. And I encouraged her to allow her body to move however it felt true to her. And her hands demonstrated moving up from her pelvic floor and out the top of her head. She said, I feel waves just rushing through me. And I ask, are these waves of energy rushing through you, moving upwards like a fountain, making a metaphorical guess? She slowly straightened her posture, said, yeah. And her face softened as she opened her eyes and she smiled through her tears. And I invited her to turn and face her horse with her eyes open and notice what she noticed in her body then. As I coached her through that body-centered process, again, to receive the wisdom of her body. She was surprised, said, my belly is calm and cool. And then I said, well, if your belly's giving you a message, what might that be? Notice the first thing that pops up. Soothing, she said with a smile. Hearing your body's telling you you need soothing. And twice more, I guided her through the process while she gazed with her eyes upon the horse. She noticed where in her body her mind would first go. She'd name the sensations and then name the emotions within the sensations to receive the messages from her body. Still standing outside the corral, I invited her to bring her awareness into her heart and extend that energy out to her horse. From this place of heart connection with your horse, If you could experience your heart's desire with your horse, what would that be? To feel safe, she said. I reflected back. To feel safe, and what would that give you? Trust. I asked, what would that look like? She said I could step in there with that horse larger than life and trust that I'm safe. Then I asked her what authentic voice could she engage to support her to step into that trust and safety. So, slowing down the process, she tried several different voices, checking in with her body each time to sense whether they felt true. I trust myself, she said. Well, that one felt too far away from where she was in the moment. So, dialing it in a little closer, she tried a slightly different version. I am stepping into trust. As if on cue, the horse stepped forward, stretched its neck over the fence, and rested its muzzle right on her forehead, and just held it there for several moments. I said, how is your horse responding to your request? She said, he's telling me it's safe to come in. I went into the corral with her at her request, and the horse met her at the gate. And this time, the horse repeated a pattern. It touched its muzzle on her foot, moved up her leg and torso to touch her heart space. It walked around her and then repeated the pattern several times. So I checked in. I said, what's happening for you at this time? She said, well, I felt intimidated at first. Now I'm just so happy, like a little kid getting attention. She was positively glowed with joy. I asked, what authentic voice are you receiving from your horse? She said, I step into trust. I said, is there more? And without hesitation, she proclaimed, I am empowered. Hearing this visceral shift within her, I coached her to walk clockwise around the corral by the rail with her hand over her solar plexus, the power energy center, repeating her authentic self voices, and to notice what happened in her body as she reclaimed her truth. I step into trust. I am empowered. As she circled around, I noticed the horse fall in behind her, following her lead. I asked her, where are you in your body? And she replied enthusiastically, I am in all of my body. It's as if I have a fountain of energy spouting out of my head. I asked, have you received your heart's desire with your horse today? Oh, yes, she exclaimed that with joy. Our earliest experiences with connection and attachment as young children have powerful effects on how we grow and develop as adults. This is true for how we relate to others, and it creates some of the voices in our heads. But it also impacts how we engage with ourselves and our ability to fully inhabit our potential and find meaning and purpose in our lives. The incredible beauty of working with horses, combined with the power of neuroscience, is that discovering the roots of our struggles actually equips us to harness the healing power of resonance, to repair our patterns of attachment, and make life changes for greater fulfillment and peace of mind. Our childhood traumas do not have to be a life sentence. Unpacking and learning to understand our experiences with care and gentleness actually enables us to generate lasting change and long-term well-being in our lives. If you'd like to develop tangible skills to address repeated blocks in connection with others or with yourself, reach out to me at healingyoursanctuary.com. Thanks for being on this journey with me here today. Healing you.